Good evening and welcome to the Newshour. I'm Madhavdas GK. As Congress MP Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra entered Delhi a few days ago, he claimed that wherever he went, he only received love and affection from people. Hum jahan gaye, bas pyar hi mila were Rahul Gandhi's exact words. But his own darbaris seemed to be contradicting him. Senior Congress leader Mani Shankar Aiyar today made a shocking remark and said that Bharat Toota hua hai and that the party was doing the job of fixing the country. Aiyar has accused the Sangh Parivar of dividing the nation on lines of religion, language, caste and culture. And not just Aiyar, but Congress party chief Mallikarjun Kharge as well today said that a pit of hatred was being widened daily as the basic principles of India were under attack. Now, even as the Congress blames the BJP for breaking Bharat, the govt leaders have also been invited to join the Yatra. Mufti, Farooq and Omar will be joining the Yatra next month. The BJP says that the Congress must first look into its own backyard before blaming the BJP. Let's first listen into the contradictory statements of Rahul and his netas.
ये देश एक है। इन सड़कों पे लाखों लोगों से मिला हूं। सारे के सारे एक दूसरे से मोहब्बत करते हैं, प्यार करते हैं, गले लगते हैं।
टूट रहा है भारत,
टूटा हुआ है, इसीलिए उसको जोड़ने की जरूरत है।
नफरत की खाई देश भर में खुदी जा रही है।
Rahul's Bharat Jodo Yatra seems to have spawned confusion and contradictions along the way. While Rahul says India's won, Mani Shankar Aiyar claims that India is broken, while Rahul claims that he's found love everywhere. The ACC president seems to find hatred everywhere. The BJP says that the Congress seems to have lost its plot on the direction of the Yatra. BJP's National President JP Nadda said that the Congress's ploy of breaking Bharat can be seen.
I never understood whether he's trying to unite or he's trying to break. जोड़ रहे हैं या तोड़ रहे हैं मालूम नहीं. You are the representative of Bharat Todo and we are the representative of Bharat Jodo.
कांग्रेस ने कौन सा चश्मा पहन रखा है? जो लोग टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग को यात्रा में चलवाते हैं, उन्हें भारत कहां से टूटा हुआ दिख रहा है? लेकिन मनी शंकर अय्यर जिस तरह की भाषा बोल रहे हैं, संघ को लेकर जिस तरह की उन्होंने अपनी जबान खोली है, उनको मालूम होना चाहिए कि मनी शंकर अय्यर हो या अशोक गहलोत, उनके सर्टिफिकेट की जरूरत संघ को नहीं है। अब भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में निकले हैं और भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में किस तरह की बयानबाजी कर रहे हैं?
क्योंकि ये खुद टूटे हुए हैं, इसलिए इनको लगता है कि भारत टूटा हुआ है। क्योंकि ये लोग वो उस सोच के लोग हैं कि कांग्रेस हिंदुस्तान है और हिंदुस्तान ही कांग्रेस है। कांग्रेस अगर टूट गई तो हिंदुस्तान टूट गया।
From invitation to controversial figures including Medha Patkar, Swara Bhaskar, Kanhaiya Kumar, who even allegedly raised seditious slogans and was booked by police, to now inviting Muftis and Abdullahs, the Congress is facing criticism for giving stage to India baiters. Let's listen in to the govt leader Mufti, who has hailed Rahul's Yatra, saying that the Congress MP is out to protect secularism and democracy in India.
देखिए, ये जो भारत जोड़ो यात्रा है, ये एक ऐसा शख्स इस वक्त खड़ा हो रहा है जो कम्युनल फोर्सेस हैं, जो मुल्क को डिवाइड करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, सेकुलरिज्म को खत्म करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। यहाँ हम लोगों का ये फर्ज बनता है कि अगर एक शख्स निकला है इस वक्त इस मुल्क की जमहूरियत को बचाने, ऐसे में हमारा उसके साथ खड़ा होना इसलिए लाजमी है। और साथ ही इसका सबसे ज्यादा खिमियाजा जो है, जो ये मुल्क में जो बांटा जा रहा है, उसका सबसे ज्यादा खिमियाजा जो है हम जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को भुगतना पड़ रहा है। आज भी जम्मू कश्मीर को एक खुली जेल में तब्दील किया गया है। कोई बात नहीं कर सकता है, कोई अपनी जो है एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर सकता है, कोई भी जेलों के जेल भरे जाते हैं जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों से।
Now, the BJP is asked if Congress was set out to Bharat Jodo, Bharat Todo, while the Congress has said that leaders who helped the Congress build India were all welcome to join the Yatra.
आज ऐसे सारे तत्व, जैसे अपने कश्मीर के मुफ्ती हो गया, फारूक अब्दुल्ला परिवार हो गया, वो भी इनको क्यों सपोर्ट करेंगे? कि वो भी चाहते थे, वो भी मुफ्ती भी कह देते कि अगर 370 आई तो खून की नदियां बहेंगी, कोई तिरंगा उठाने वाला नहीं मिलेगा।
रही बात जम्मू कश्मीर में फारूक अब्दुल्ला महबूबा मुफ्ती की, ये लोग जम्मू कश्मीर में अपनी जमीन खो चुके हैं। हारे हुए और आजमाए हुए खिलाड़ियों को जो कि बुरी तरीके से धराशायी हो चुके हैं,
ऐसे खिलाड़ियों के सहारे राहुल गांधी अपनी जो टीम बना रहे हैं उसका बुरा हाल होगा।
Congress and have helped Congress build the new India. Now today we are in some challenging moments because there's a point of view that we disagree with, and that point of view prevails because that point of view is carried by the government. We believe that is a divisive point of view, that is not an inclusive one, and therefore we have to work harder to bring the inclusive message back to the country.
That brings me to the legitimate question that we're asking this evening. Is it Bharat Jodo or Bharat bashing that's going on?
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Go across to our guest. Joining us with us is Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP. With us also is Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate. Abhijit Iyer Mitra is a political analyst joining us. Ishan Rajiv Tyagi is a political analyst with us. Sanjay Jha joins us on the broadcast, as does Tehseen Poorawal. Let me start with you first, Sanjay Jha. And let me ask you, this statement of Mani Shankar Aiyar is puzzling. Simply and merely because Mr. Rahul Gandhi said something quite different. He talked about love, how people are coming to him, accepting him. You know, is Bharat Toota hua? Or is it a movement of love? Because certainly both the things cannot be going hand in hand. The BJP certainly seems to suggest that this is an insult to not just the founders of India, but also an insult to the people and what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is claiming to be doing.
Can you hear me, Madhav?
Yes, please go ahead, Sanjay Jha.
Yeah, Madhav, first and foremost, we can't do cherry picking from Rahul's speech. I mean, Rahul talked about ye nafrat ke bazaar mein ek pyar ki dukaan. So, I mean, the message is the same. Or Rahul Gandhi basically conveyed, and I think your viewers need to understand that people intrinsically in India are basically inclusive. They don't have hate in their DNA. What he meant to say was that the BJP is spreading through its poisonous and divisive communal propaganda a definite and a very vicious and a malicious relationship between communities. That was his bigger theme. The second point is critical, and I'm going to quote that because my friend Nalin Kohli happens to be here, and I'm going to quote to him the Supreme Court of India on hate speeches. And I would love it if Nalin kindly responded to that, because as a politician, if I say something, it will be seen through the prism.
Sanjay, I'm going to come to Supreme Court. So I intend to discuss. Sanjay, let me just, may I just beg your indulgence for 10 seconds, because I'm asking you a specific question on Mani Shankar Aiyar. We will debate what the Supreme Court has said. That is part of this debate. I'm not going to run away from that question. But a simple question. Do you agree with Mani Shankar Aiyar? Do you endorse his statement when he says Bharat toota hua hai?
I totally, and not just 100%. I'm going to tell you 250%. 1000% believe Mani Shankar Aiyar has articulated the sentiments of a large number of people in our country who are truly secular liberals. And therefore, to buttress that argument, let me quote the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said on October 22nd, this is, and I find another friend of mine smiling, so let me quote the Supreme Court here.
So you're justifying.
This is the 21st century. No, hear me out. This is the 21st century. What have we reduced God to? Article 51 says we should have a scientific temper. In the name of religion, what is happening? This is tragic. Can you imagine these unprecedented harsh words being used by the Supreme Court against a government whose political party is brazenly creating communal polarization?
Sanjay Jha, which was the case? Which was the case in which the court made this observation?
Well, we all know, right? I mean, here was basically everyone who filed the petition was talking about the ugly hate speeches made by BJP MPs like Mr. Paritesh Verma. You have had a whole laundry list of cases of genocide calls being done.
Are you sure that was the case, sir? Because you appear to have forgotten the context in which those comments were made.
What is the context?
Yes.
You are now challenging
nobody's challenging the Supreme Court. I'm just asking you the context in which those speeches were made. They were incidentally made in the context of comments by Yati Narasimhan, and I plan to ask those questions to the BJP. Nobody's running away from those comments. One second. Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha.
Multiple cases.
Yes, Sanjay Jha, one second, just hear me out now. You have made a number of points, and let me get in a response, because first and foremost, you have said that what Mani Shankar Aiyar has said is an articulation of what people feel. Let me get in Nalin Kohli, since you pointedly named him, and also, of course, have brought in these various court cases, and of course, we know Mr. Nalin Kohli does appear before the Supreme Court. Nalin Kohli, Please respond to Sanjay Jha and the 3 or 4 points that he has specifically asked you.
And why has the government not taken any action against Pragya Singh Thakur?
So first,
we'll come to that, sir. We are coming to that. There's a long. We have half an hour ahead of us. We will get to all those questions. Yes, Nalin Kohli.
So I was about to say that I would equally like to respond back, and my colleague is there also, Ishkaran, that the Supreme Court, we can quote dozens of cases that says you should read the comments or the obiter, or this is not a ratio of a judgment, in context of the facts of that case. So it's very nice to extrapolate it and try to build a narrative against the BJP. Look, in life, in war, in politics, whatever be it, you always need an enemy and you need something to attack. Now there's a problem with the Congress party. The problem with the Congress party is they are grappling with a leadership issue. Who will be the leader of the Congress party? Will it be the Nehru-Gandhi family, someone from there, or will it be someone outside there, or it would be handed over to a nominee who has the blessings of the Nehru-Gandhi family? Now the Congress is entitled to choose its leader. It's not for the BJP or someone else to decide whether it should be from a first family or not. Within that, they need to now go to the people of India and say why you should vote against Narendra Modi ji and the BJP. So in 2014, when the first time Prime Minister Modi came in, and in 19 he's been reiterated as the Prime Minister with a larger man. We hate Indians, we dislike certain Indians, we don't like this religion, we don't like that religion. It was none of this. Pick up the entire 2019 election and the entire election would be, there would be always a little bit of political masala, which all political parties go. But the core of the issue was the performance of the Narendra Modi government over 5 years preceding that. And the people of India gave a resounding vote on that. Or if I take it to the Gujarat elections, what's called the Gujarat model of development, a resounding vote for over 2 decades, non-stop. So now they have to say something, we have to fight against the BJP. So they build up a narrative of saying that Bharat Jodo, the party which divided India, is talking of Bharat Jodo. India is one. There is no division of India. Now let's take Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar. He is the famous political senior leader of the Congress party who went to Pakistan and said, Inko hataiye aur hame laiye. So now you have a core belief that essentially the Congress expects its senior leaders to stand in Pakistan and say, help us to remove the democratically elected government of the BJP, elected by the people of India in a free and fair election.
Right.
So the Congress is tying itself in a bundle of contradictions in trying to build a false narrative, not founded by fact. And my last comment, tell me when 80 crore people get the Garib Kalyan Yojana and food grains, does the government of India, Narendra Modi ji's government, look at who's a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Parsi, Jew? I mean, it only looks who is the beneficiary and who should get the pay.
Right. Let me come in. One second. Sanjay, the others also on the panel. I'm going to come to each of you. Gentlemen, there are many of us on the panel. I want to give everyone equal chance to come in on this. And Tehseen, let me begin by asking you a simple question.
For the record, Madhav, Nalin ducked answering my question because he has actually nothing to say.
All right, we'll come back to both of you, gentlemen. Let's just leave it at that for the moment, please. For just a minute, please indulge me there. Tehseen, simple question. Is Bharat...
Such a long answer I gave and you say I have nothing to say.
All right. Gentlemen, let me just bring in others because there are multiple points on this debate. There are multiple points of debate on both sides. Let's agree to disagree for the moment and let me bring in Tehseen for the moment. Tehseen, you know, on the one hand, you have a person who says that Bharat toota hua hai. A, do you agree with Mani Shankar Aiyar? Bharat toota hua hai according to you? And B, what about those individuals of the Gupkar lobby whose soft separatist positions are very well known, they're out there in the public domain, who are going to be part of the same Bharat Jodo Yatra? Tehseen Poonawala.
There are two questions you've asked. So let me answer your second one, but I want time to answer the first one because that's more pertinent. Guptar lobby, Guptar gang, Khan market gang, whatever. You can put all these attributes. But none of these people are in power. Who's in power is the current Honorable Prime Minister and current Honorable Home Minister. So if he has something against them, he should prosecute them. If he has nothing, stop giving these titles to people. Same Honorable Prime Minister who, Shama Prasad Mukherjee said, Ek Desh Mein Ek Nishan, was saluting the flag of Kashmir, formed a government with Mehbooba Mufti and with her father, Farooq Abdullah was in the NDA. Suddenly now, when they are not in the NDA, they are disloyal to the country. At least when they come with Rahul Gandhi ji in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, only and only the Tiranga matters. But let me come to the first and more important part, because that is the substance of the debate and Nalinji was speaking about. I want to ask Nalinji something very, very specific. Your Rishad. The Honorable Supreme Court, in my case, Tehseen Poonawalla versus Union of India, laid down specific guidelines for hate speech, specific. The most Honorable Prime Minister of India, my Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, told Navika on Times Now that मैं हृदय से प्रज्ञा ठाकुर को माफ नहीं करूंगा. Yet Pragya Thakur in Karnataka goes and gives a hate speech, says that you must have knives and cut off people's heads. And yet the Shimoga SP, right now, has still not filed the FIR despite my person waiting.
All right, there's news breaking. Tehseen, this is a very bad time for you to be making that comment, because there's news breaking on your screen that the FIR has actually been filed.
Yes.
So let me just factually correct you, because your point, at least let's not misinform the viewers. It's happening right now, even as we speak.
So
a day after it came out in the public domain. No, I'll give you that. It may have taken 48 hours. It may have taken. I'm not taking away from the fact that there was perhaps a delay, but the FIR has now been filed. We'll come to all of these points. We'll come to Pragya Thakur, we'll come to even the statements that have been made by Mr. Imran Pratapgarhi. But yes, complete your point. Just wanted to clarify that. Go ahead.
From morning, since last evening, my person has been sitting at the police station. Now the FIR has been filed. Now, it's taken more than 24 hours and continuous pressure of mine, my tweets, my people sitting there to file an FIR against Pragya Thakur.
Okay. I think there are 2 points. Okay, there are 2 points over here. 2 points over here, Ishkaran, and let me come to each of those points. The first and foremost is the point being made as far as those of the so-called Gupkar lobby, whether we choose to call them by the name of the political parties, the PDP and NC joining Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. Is there no contradiction there? Because Tehseen says if they've done something wrong, arrest them. But why build this narrative? That is the question coming in from Tehseen Poonawalla. And he also says that BJP governments in particular are going slow against those individuals. And we've seen what's happened in Uttarakhand. And we're seeing what's happening in Karnataka. Your response to that, Ishan?
Let us first deal with Bharat Jodo Yatra. What is Bharat Todo? Bharat Todo is when you insert Article 35A into the Constitution to give special rights which lead to discrimination in Jammu and Kashmir. Bharat Todo is when a sitting Prime Minister says Muslims have the first right on resources. Bharat Todo is when Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar goes to Pakistan, addresses the Pakistani audiences and says, Modi hatao, are Pakistan to vote, or what was he asking them to do so that the Prime Minister duly elected by the people of India gets removed. All those to me and many other instances are what is Bharat Todo. And now what is Bharat Jodo? Bharat Jodo is when you remove Article 370, which gives a separate land, a separate jhanda, you make every piece of India equal, you give rights to women, you give rights to SC, ST communities. That is Bharat Jodo. But let me come to the larger aspect, because every day we hear a debate on RSS and Hindutva during this entire rally. I have one question to ask. We saw what happened to Kanhaiya Lal in Rajasthan, where people with knives came and very proudly displayed those knives after butchering a person. We saw what happened in Umesh Kole. Why? Right. Because he talks about Bharat Jodo every day, does he not come out, take a univocal stand, expresses it by words that this sar tan se juda logic, ideology is what is dividing India. Why are people not safe? Why does the Congress not take a univocal, unequivocal stand on this? Why is that not a part of Bharat Jodo? I want to ask them. And lastly, let me put it very, very clearly. बचपन में ना मिठाई के डब्बे पे वो लाल पीले रैपर आते थे. आप आंख पे लाल रैपर लगा लो, सारी दुनिया आपको लाल लगती है. Rahul Gandhi is for the first time working hard and staying in India. I'll give him that. But he is probably discovering his own concepts which are not true to what is happening in Bharat. People have, and he himself said, when he's on the roads, he finds no violence, he finds no nafrat, he finds nothing. So he sits in a lobby in which people keep saying things in his ear. And he was hearing that. I hope this yatra gives him a true sense of what is Bharat, where secularism is inbuilt, except unless people come wanting to butcher you. For that, self-defense has to be done legally.
All right. Ishan Rajiv Tyagi, you know, Rahul Gandhi claims to create this atmosphere of positivity. But this statement of Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar, not just is it disconnected from what Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself says, but also it's rank pessimism and not positivity. The same message that Rahul Gandhi wants to spread.
Madhavji, first of all, I would like to comment and say something on what Nalin Kohli ji said. first of all, that the question of leadership in Congress is over. It held a democratic election process, and now Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge is the president of Congress party. So I believe the cry over the leadership which the BJP used to raise over Congress, right, it is over now. Second point for Nalin Kohli ji, that Nalin Kohli ji said that Congress is the party which divided India. No, Nalin Kohli ji, Congress is the party which took an active role and a primary role in the struggle of independence of India and united India against the Britishers, first of all. Now, coming to your question, see, I have a bifurcated list of points which Rahul Gandhi said in his speech on the Red Fort. First point is that he says that he did not find any hate in the hearts of the people of India, first of all. But he says that there's a fear in the hearts of the people of India. That fear is because of certain reasons, because the government is not listening to these people. The second reason is the media is digressing from the real issues of these people and are involving the people in just Hindu-Muslim debates and Hindu-Muslim instances, right? Let me tell you what the real fear is. The farmer of India
parties should attack each other. Parties should trade punches on social media and through bites and comments, but media should not cover it. If media responds on this, media is doing a bad job. I mean, this is the limit of hypocrisy, sir. This is the limit of hypocrisy, Mr. Ishan Rajiv Tyagi. What about when the chief minister of a state, of Assam, says that it is Imran Pratap Gadi saying that agar marna pade to 4-6 ko maar kar marna.
Anchors, I'm not targeting that couple of guys sitting over here.
Mr. Ishan Rajiv Tyagi, I'm asking you a question. I'm saying that if suppose the chief minister of a state, of Assam, puts out a tweet of a member of parliament who a few years ago may have come out to say, agar marna pade to 4-6 ko maar kar marna. So what should be done in that case? Should that question not be asked of the Congress party?
Exactly. And what should be done in the case? No, what should, and why is Pragya Thakur still out? Why is there no action on Pragya Thakur?
Sir, do two wrongs, exactly.
Tell me that.
Exactly, and Mr. Poonawalla exactly raised that question, and rightly so. Anyone spreading hate and violence must be acted upon. The law must act. Nobody is going to come out and defend violence or incitement of violence, sir. My simple question is that in today's day and age, if you do believe that the atmosphere that is there in the country is vitiated, that people are going on talking about violence, talking about hate, then certainly such statements need to be acted upon, Mr. Ishan Rajiv Tyagi. Or should they not?
Definitely, these statements should be acted upon. The second point is, you did not let me complete my point. That is the point. That is the point I was saying, that the media is digressing from the real issues. I raised the point of farmers.
Which issues?
Now the second point is, why is the youth of this nation worried? No, the issues of the farmers, youth and MSME sector should be raised, right? So these are the topics which the media is digressing from.
Sir, farmers' agitation not covered.
No, but
for 1 year there were protests. Every day they were covered during the course of that 1 year. What are you saying, sir? What are you saying? When the farm law protests were on the borders of the country, of the national capital, they were covered every single day. I don't think that's a fair criticism at all. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, the problem is this. The problem is that media will be blamed. Political parties and politicians can go on making hateful speeches. If media covers it, then media is wrong. What political parties have no responsibility.
So, political parties, of course, never accept responsibility for anything they do. And that, of course, applies to every single political party in India. It's not anybody's exclusive monopoly. But let's look at the points that have been raised. Will you give me just 2 minutes? Okay. So the first is, there was this point raised about what the Supreme Court said on hate speech. See, the Supreme Court has some 12-13 benches. Each bench holds a different opinion on every different issue because there is no such thing as settled law in these cases. So you will have another court tomorrow that says something else, right? Remember, this was also the same Supreme Court that let a particular jihadi off, who just recently this year had resulted in and called it journalism, that had resulted in the deaths of 12 people, including one who was violently, slowly, had his head decapitated on a video. And that WhatsApp video was circulated to everybody. So you see, the Supreme Court is not infallible, number one. Number two, when you say broken, what are the constituents of broken? Because see, broken needs to be specified. Broken can mean any number of things. So let's look at what exactly is broken. First, let's look at it ideologically. What is Hindutva? Hindutva is political Hinduism. Now, political Hinduism, what is the point of bringing Hindus together? It is fundamentally an aim at unity by overcoming caste divisions that have plagued Hindus for the last 1,400 odd years. So the very act of Hindutva is to bring Hindus together. How are you breaking something? Sanjay, please let me finish. I'm just going to take 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes, just one more minute. Next, let's look at the instances of violence. Do we measure broken by violence? Sure. Let's look at the scale and caliber of riots before the BJP came to power. 67 Ranchi riots, 184 dead. 69 Gujarat riots, 512 dead. 1918 Moradabad riots, 400 dead. 1983 Delhi massacre, 2,200 people killed. Bhiwandi 278, the 1984 anti-Sikh riots, between 8 to 17,000 killed. I can go on and on and on. However, what you will see is that under the BJP, the instances of large-scale rioting have reduced very significantly. Next, if you take broken, let's look at the alienation of communities. Let's assume that Muslims are feeling alienated. Well, why is it then that so many Shias, the Sayyidina of one community, actually urges his community to vote for the BJP? He's put out a fatwa or whatever it is that that community puts out to vote for the BJP. The Shias have always been closet BJP voters and they are seen by the BJP as allies, be it in Kashmir, be it in UP, be it anywhere else. This time in the election, there is a lot of evidence to show that Sunni women voted overwhelmingly for the BJP. The BJP has done more for Sunni women and Muslim education, allocated more money at least, than all previous governments put together. For the first time in history, the BJP won Rampur, Azam Khan's seat, which had never gone to a non-Muslim till before this.
All right, this is a claim that the BJP has made even in Gujarat. That's a claim that BJP has made even in Gujarat. But let's get a response. You made a number of points over there. The definition of what is broken is very nebulous. It's not clear. And in fact, I think Abhijit Ayar Mitra refers to at least 2 or 3 conditions, and none of those conditions, he says, have been fulfilled. In fact, he says in today's day and age, whether it is Rampur, whether it is Muslim-dominated constituencies in Ahmedabad and in Gujarat, all of those areas we are seeing Muslims actually voting for the BJP. So where is the question of division, or where is the question of Bharat Tootna? Sanjay Jha, that's his question. Please respond.
Other quick responses to what Abhijit has mentioned. Number one, selective cherry picking. I mean, this is rather preposterous that you take a Supreme Court statement, which is, by the way, one of the most harshest, strictest any government has received in India's parliamentary history, and to say another bench might tomorrow say something different. I mean, that's a little bit of an absurd hypothesis. Number two, Abhijit quotes communal disturbances that have happened prior to Mr. Modi becoming Prime Minister. What he doesn't tell you, and I would recommend Abhijit, read the book called Riots After Riots, written by M.K. Akbar, who, by the way, belongs to the Bharatiya Janata Party as an MP today, which talks about the role of the RSS in these riots. So they may have happened when Congress was in government, but the point that you are ignoring and trying to fool the viewers on is who was behind them. And majority of them were triggered by members of the RSS, HP, and various other political outfits related to the extreme right wing. The third point, and this is very critical as well, that Abhijit once again says that, you know, end of day, all these violences that have happened are part of a normal situation and cannot be attributed only to Narendra Modi. But the truth is lynching. Look at lynchings in India, reminiscent of the Ku Klux Klan in Mississippi and, you know, the civil rights movement.
Frequency of riots, etc., that is a reality whether you like it or not.
Well, the government has had 3,600 communal disturbances in parliament. The government has openly said it's 3,600 cases in a short period of time.
And remember, Sanjay, you know, and I know, you're a very smart guy. Everybody knows that. You know how statistics get played. Remember, you know, South Africa, sorry, Madhav, just one.
Last one, very quickly.
You know, the highest rape statistics in the world is South Africa. Do you know who number 2 is? It's Sweden. Do you know why Sweden? It's because of the way rape statistics are counted, and in fact, in South Africa, it doesn't even count as rape.
But Abhijit, we need a common yardstick.
All right. Let me just quickly bring it.
Even have a proper
gentlemen, let me just come in here.
Lynching, the point he raised is a case in point where you don't even have a yardstick, you don't account for reporting increases, you don't account for social media increases, etc., etc., etc.
All right, let me just bring in Nalin Kohli at this point, because Nalin, you know, the question that's going on coming from several panelists, and I'm coming to Tehseen, I'm coming to you and others as well. Nalin, the point that keeps coming up time and again is this entire question of why BJP and BJP-ruled governments are going soft on those who make controversial statements, whether it's Yati Narasimhan and the Supreme Court pulling up the state governments of Uttarakhand and other state governments nearby, or whether it is the case of Pragya Thakur, where she has made a statement which it could be interpreted as an incitement to violence because she's talking about weapons, etc. Why are governments slow to react is a question that is being asked by the opposition today. It's out there, and certainly at some level or the other, in the context of what's being said about divisions within society, is that a valid claim to make? Nalin Kohli.
What about Anurag Thakur?
Choose what you want, and that's the confusion with the Congress party. So it's very easy for the Congress party to pick up a Supreme Court judgment and say this is what the Honorable Supreme Court of India has said. But equally important is the Congress party just a few weeks ago said totally unacceptable, the Supreme Court releasing the Rajiv Gandhi killers. So I mean, this is a democracy. So what would you say? That the Congress party is committing some kind of incorrect position with the Supreme Court? On one side they praise the Supreme Court and says, listen BJP, you should listen to what it says. On the other hand, we have the right to criticize the Supreme Court. So this is a democracy. Article 19 applies to everyone. Now on one side they say we are feeling this is माहौल है देश में, मतलब कोई बोल नहीं पा रहा है, डर का माहौल है. This is the kind of false thing they talk. On the other hand, people are saying all sorts of things across the spectrum. I mean, if you disagree with Pragya Thakur's statement, and a lot of people would, but then the other argument can be taken that she has a right to articulate her view. You have every right to disagree with that view. What has happened with that view? I mean, that's a view. Now, you may say that's an extreme view. I mean, Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar has gone ahead and taken a view that many people would say is anti-national, which is very simple. Inko, hataiye, humko, laiye, sitting in Pakistan. So there's a whole set of people who would have their own point of view under Article 19 that there can't be anything more anti-national than this, asking Pakistan's help to remove the democratically elected Prime Minister of India, elected through the democratic process, through which even Congress party MLAs and MPs get elected.
Right.
So I think you have to look at everything in perspective. Life is far more complicated, and I'm not making a justification of anything. For someone to pick up and say, you didn't take action on this, so therefore you are biased. I mean, by the same logic, what action has the Congress party taken on Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar for seeking Pakistan's help to remove the democratically elected government of India?
Okay. Let's get in Tehseen on that. Tehseen, what action has been taken? The shoe fits on both sides. You can accuse one side of cherry-picking facts, but the same accusation can be made by the other side. What action has been taken on Mani Shankar Aiyar? What action has been taken on Imran Pratapgarhi? Are questions coming in from the BJP? Please respond.
And on fairness, just one comment, because Tehseen has raised a point in this program which is relevant. He says, I wanted to file a private complaint for an FIR on this. That right also flows from the same constitution, which Pragya Thakur has used in terms of her right under Article 19, and which somebody else feels it is offensive and using their right under the constitution to file a complaint.
Right.
So I mean, so therefore, as I said, you have to look at everything in that perspective.
Okay. Point taken. Let Tehseen respond to that. Tehseen. Please unmute yourself and continue speaking, Tehseen. We can't hear you.
The Supreme Court, the US Supreme Court
sorry,
judge
I'm not able to hear Tehseen.
The US Supreme Court judge said in a judgment that free speech does not allow you the right to say fire in a packed auditorium when there's no fire and causes stampede. Pragya Thakur is not exercising Article 19 when she says have knives and cut off the heads and mouths of people from another community. That is communal. That is against Supreme Court guidelines. That's against CRPC 153A, 153B, 268, 295, 504, 505. Now, the most honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji told Navika on Times Now, मैं हृदय से प्रज्ञा ठाकुर को माफ नहीं करूंगा. The most honorable Home Minister of India, Amit Shah ji told Navika ji, 10 दिन में action होगा. She doesn't seem to be affected by either the honorable Prime Minister, who's the strongest man in the world, or the honorable Home Minister. She continues to say spew venom time and again. It's not the first time she's doing it. I am asking, if you kick her out of the party, does the BJP lose a majority? But you won't do it. As so far as Mani Shankar Aiyar is concerned, I was the first person. Madhav had called. Madhav was on air that day when Mani Shankar Aiyar made some very disgraceful remarks, and I said Congress should act against him. Congress suspended him. He had to apologize and come back. What action have you taken against Pragya Thakur?
Okay. Question for Nalin Kohli. Let him respond. Nalin Kohli. Quick response, please. Abhijit, I'm coming to you, Ishkar and others as well. Yes.
But has anyone gone out of their way also? Tell me, show me one person in all the names you took or anyone else, any one of us who has gone out there and justified or stood there and said that we agree with Pragya Thakur. How is that a BJP policy? What did Imran Masood of the Congress say? Boti kaat do Pradhan Mantri ko, you put him up as your candidate in the next election again.
Sir, and he was sent to jail by the same Congress party.
Build your argument on one principle, not on shifting principles. That's all the point I'm making again and again.
Who sent him to jail? Congress party. Imran Masood was a member of the Congress party. He made that statement. He went to jail. 2013 Congress was in the center. I am asking you, why is Pragya Thakur in jail? She's violating her bail conditions. She's out on medical grounds. These are violations of her bail conditions. And she continues to spew venom. She continues to make hate speeches.
1 minute. Tehseem.
How is this Article 19, sir?
Yes, Tehseem. So what are you trying to say? Build an argument that the BJP is asking her to speak in this way. That's absolutely ridiculous. You are trying to run away from Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar's statement because he has commented on the Yatra in contradiction to Mr. Rahul Gandhi's statement. So Mr. Aiyar has a point of view which is opposite to the view of Rahul Gandhi within a span of what, 48 hours?
So
therefore for that your defense is Pragya Thakur. How is Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar and Pragya Thakur connected? May I know? I mean, are they working in tandem? Is there a connection? Why are you now saying that Pragya Thakur is there to help you with the Rahul Gandhi?
Let me come in here, gentlemen. Let me come in here. Gentlemen, let me come in here.
Violence.
All right, Abhijit wanted to make a quick point. Yes, Abhijit.
Thakur is asking you to take up arms.
Right, Tehseem the others as well. Please, we're running out of time. I want Abhijit to come in now. Yes, Abhijit.
So I just want to know, you know, Rahul Gandhi tweeted in support of a self-proclaimed fact-checker sometime back. A fact-checker who started off riots that killed 12 people in a very brutal way. What is the action that the Congress is going to take against Rahul Gandhi? I want to know. Second, if according to the Supreme Court, what that alleged fact-checker does is journalism, then tell me what exactly has Pragya said with that same convoluted logic that the Supreme Court used for the fact-checker. How does it not amount to self-defense? Have you heard of Kamlesh Tiwari? Do you know who Kamlesh Tiwari was? Do you know how he was killed? What was the name of the
issues? We all respect the rule of law. We all respect the courts of the country, and ultimately, in a situation, particularly when there are disputes, the courts perhaps are only method of interpreting and resolving the disputes that we have at hand. I'd like to thank Nalin Kohli. Also like to thank Ishkaran Bandari, Ishan, Rajiv Tyagi, and Sanjay Jha for joining us. Tehseem Pulawala and Abhijit Iyer Mitra stay with us for debate number 2.